Hedera snatches up more of the Indian blockchain market thanks to a huge endorsement from KPMG. As you can see here, KPMG in India will collaborate with the Hashgraph Group to drive enterprise blockchain adoption, leveraging Hedera's DLT. In this episode, I'm going to break down to you the details of this story, and we're also going to explain the history of Hedera DLT use in India. One of the earliest governing council members was IIT Madras, which is a university out in India. They were one of the first universities to start writing curriculums around blockchain technology, specifically for Hedera. So when I tell you the roots run deep when it comes to Hedera in India, trust me, you can believe me when I say that. So let's not waste no more time. First, let me introduce myself. I know we got a lot of new faces around here. We're almost up to 50,000 subscribers. 50,000 hustlers strong. I love to see it. But my name is Wade, and you're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in this space since 2019, and I have researched over 1,000 digital assets. I've narrowed my focus a bit, but the main reason I sit here in front of this camera is to share all that knowledge with you. All I'm asking in return, you hit that subscribe button. I want to see this channel hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025, and I think that's possible. So let's jump into these details here. Again, KPMG in India. KPMG is one of the big four accounting firms alongside Deloitte, Ernst Young, and PricewaterhouseCoopers, all of which have very interesting ties to blockchain themselves. Deloitte, if I'm not mistaken, governing council member for Hedera. PricewaterhouseCoopers has studied everybody's blockchain network up and down the chain. Ernst Young, EY, in the quant network ecosystem. So the big four knows about the potential of DLT. The core of this relationship, KPMG in India, will look to combine their extensive expertise in advisory and consulting services with Hedera's DLT to create robust, secure, and energy-efficient decentralized solutions that can easily integrate safely with multiple applications, obviously. They're also looking to address critical challenges and enterprise needs in areas such as digital identity, digital product passports, sustainability, supply chain management, and asset tokenization. All buzzwords that we have become familiar with thanks to studying Hedera. KPMG, however, bit of a different story. Outside of knowing them for being one of the big four accounting firms, I had to really dig into what else they did. Like, what do they really consult in? Mainly finance. Found this PDF here, talks about their basic services. There is a reoccurring theme in this with another project that we'll touch on before this episode is out. But on the surface, this is pretty much it. This isn't where we want our attention to be right now. Where we want our attention to be is at an event called Davos. This is when I began to understand, much like the United States, India has a major plan to digitize everything. India is also one of the countries that already uses ISO 20022 syntax. If I'm not mistaken, they've been doing it since 2015. When you look at the number of digital payments in India, they dominate the rest of the world. So the environment is fitting. That's why longtime viewers, you remember how hard I used to go into India when it came to the research. India was also one of the first years ago to draft some sort of blockchain framework, regulatory blockchain framework. So let's not sleep on India, especially with this information. Viksit Bharat, forgive me if I butchered that, 2047. This is a strategic roadmap for India's digital future. It was presented at Davos, which is a World Economic Forum annual meeting of global leaders, business leaders, thought leaders coming together to talk about the future of the world. This particular event, though, featured a lot of people. Danielle Dixon was down there, Stellar Development, Hedera was down there. Quite a few names are usually there every year. But this particular report, which I do have for us here, India's Digital dividend. This was a collaboration with KPMG and the Confederation of Indian Industry. Take note of those two companies. We'll come right back to it. I want to show you this piece here from this PDF. We won't go through the whole thing. We probably will, though, in the membership section, for sure. But I want to show you something about AI that I don't think a lot of people know in regards to India. A vision for robust governance and ethical AI. India is embracing a digital-first future, strengthening governance frameworks to balance innovation with responsibility. By fostering transparency, adaptability, and ethical AI, India is paving the way for a secure, thriving digital economy. I searched blockchain, just the word, in this PDF. It appeared 14 times, and every time it was next to AI. That to me shows that they have an appetite for incorporating AI into blockchain, and they got the money to do it, which is also explained in this report here. But with everybody talking about what's going on in the United States, right? I found this article here to be very interesting. Trump 2.0 and the U.S.-India partnership, a new chapter in strategic diplomacy. Is it now? Is it now? All right, let's just keep reading here, because this was an excellent piece published just this morning. Gotta love crypto, right? But the reason why I tied Viksit Bharat to Make America Great Again is because they did. Trump's America First agenda finds a parallel in Prime Minister Modi's vision of Viksit Bharat, developed India. Both nations share aspirations for self-reliance in key industries, creating opportunities for collaboration across strategic and commercial areas. Compelling. Again, very compelling. I remember first hearing about these diplomatic relationships forming years ago, before I even got into crypto. To see it here now, still, makes me glad I decided to stay put in this space. I'll just put it that way. So clearly, we have a strong appetite coming out of India for digitization, the use of DLT, blockchain, artificial intelligence. But I was still skeptical about KPMG at this point. So I had to keep digging, right? You guys might remember this little organization here, T-Hub. It's an startup incubator, for entrepreneurs. I guess you could put that there. Startup incubator. We first covered them in relation to, their startup program with Algorand. They also have a program with the XDC network. And fishing back around to T-Hub's list of investors, a couple names stood out right away. You find out here KPMG and the Confederation of Indian Industry. And remember, they were the ones that contributed to the India's digital dividend report, which detailed their plans on blockchain and artificial intelligence. So all of this has me thinking that, all right, the positioning is there, because if KPMG is heavily invested in T-Hub, and we've already seen what can come out of T-Hub, in the form of Algorand Startup Lab, as well as XDC Startup Lab, it just has me thinking Hedera could obviously be next here. And to the point of India-US relations here, T-Hub has another part to their organization here. It's the T-Bridge, ladies and gentlemen. This T-Bridge, as it says, the international arm of T-Hub, it's to foster relationships with startups outside of India. Hedera we're past startup. We're definitely way past startup. But let's just say there is a startup in KPMG's ecosystem with U.S. relations, or maybe based in the U.S., but they want to make use of KPMG's resources and somehow tie in the resources from the T-Hub. That's what KPMG could do. They could take this US-based startup, drop them into the T-Hub, and then start to take advantage of the resources in T-Hub. And if they're taking the blockchain route, you have Algorand as an option, you have XDC as an option, and potentially Hedera could be one of those options. So when I discovered KPMG's relationship with T-Hub, I felt a lot more comfortable. Now I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, because they also invested in a company called LW3. So a while back, we reported on this story in relation to Algorand's move with T-Hub. They invested in 5 startups, and one of those 5 startups was LW3. And I remember we came across this situation that they had endorsement from KPMG, and I was trying to figure out why. Little time does wonders, ladies and gentlemen. So they have been active on LinkedIn, right? All the more reason why I tell you, pay attention to LinkedIn. LW3 Private Limited, they were spotlighted in the Global Blockchain Business Council India Country Spotlight Report from 2024. Let's take a look at what they were put in here for. So, smart contract automation. LW3 utilizes smart contracts to automate and enforce compliance with sustainable practice and quality standards at each step of the supply chain. Traceability. LW3 introduces Digital Product Passport, a digital certificate that tracks each product from its origin to the consumer. Sounding familiar, isn't it? Sustainability. Digital Product Passports. One more here. Embedded finance. LW3 is integrating embedded finance into its platform, allowing for instant financial transactions that can support refunds, deposits, payouts to different stakeholders in the supply chain. Why are those terms significant? Doesn't that align with everything that they wanted to do? So, if they made the investment into LW3, which is running on Algorand's blockchain, all KPMG now has to do is invest in, for example, a Prove AI, which recently joined the world of Hedera, an Equity Lab, which recently completed the application that created verifiable compute in collaboration with NVIDIA on Hedera. They can invest in them, all to meet the goals here of digital identity, sustainability, supply chain management, asset tokenization. And then just add this number on here too. They're already, Hedera and Algorand are already very, very close. So with this information, I was more so taken back by just how much synergy is there and that can be tapped into. Let me see what this is here. Yeah, this goes back to the digital dividend, because I wanted to show you this number right here. Investment of $1.2 billion into the India AI mission. That explains it all there. They're ready to put the money down behind artificial intelligence specifically. Well, that's very interesting, because this week, the people over at the HBAR Foundation were very busy, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to jump in to this interview here with Greg Bell, Chief Business Officer for the HBAR Foundation, speaking with fintech.tv. And he talks about how not only Hedera is positioned in front of this transition to AI from corporate players, but he also explains precisely where Hedera is being used in companies like Equity Lab's verified compute application. Let me pull it up here. We'll jump to about, 3 minutes 57.
The famous one, but another meme coin. So given the focus of altcoins and meme coins, what does all of this mean, not just for the industry itself, but also for both institutional as well as retail investors?
Well, I think it's one of these narratives. Meme coins certainly are driving the awareness and the onboarding. I would say one of the other awareness drivers is really around the convergence of AI and Internet of Things. You see companies like Prove AI and Equity Labs that are working to address questions around how we trust AI systems, agents. As the governments get more involved in the space, becomes regulated, what we're going to see is the importance of tamper-proof evidence of how AIs are being, modeled and fed their information. Now, companies like NVIDIA, Intel, they are working and partnering with, empowering some of the largest AI platforms, whether that's OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google AI. And they partnered with companies like Equity Labs to embed directly on their chip level Hedera-based solutions to be able to track and validate every operation that occurs on these chips. So here we have an example of, on the most foundational level, blockchain being used as critical infrastructure, Hedera here, as the base layer for AI, addressing trust.
Essentially, putting the I in AI. It's verifying the intelligence of the artificial intelligence. This really put it in perspective for me, just how important that verified compute is. Obviously, he's not using the term verified compute. He's on TV. They like to keep it simple. But that's what I've come to know it as. And when you want to search it up, that's what you want to look for. Now, I also have this, because there was another pretty interesting partnership, again, announced at Davos, between Hedera and another big player when it comes to AI and blockchain, Internet Computer. Now we're going to jump into this bit here. This one is no, not as long as the other one. That's a different clip. I find so many clips here. But let's just jump forward to
in the future. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, maybe just to make one announcement, indeed, we are partnering with Almeda Ventures, which is the venture arm of Almeda Holding, one of the leading conglomerates in Africa, investing in Web3 projects with major focus on 3 verticals: sustainability, on-chain finance and DeFi, and last but not least is consumer engagement. But at the same time, we finally found 3 use cases where we are going to collaborate with our partners at Dfinity. And I believe that combination is going to be unbeatable. What does that mean? Hedera Hashgraph brings the sustainability aspect when it comes to energy consumption, when it comes to a lower carbon footprint. At the same time, we bring another aspect which is needed for institutional adoption, which is governance, combined with the great and the powerful smart contract structure that the guys at ICP managed to develop over the last few years, including powerful EI components that have been developed recently by the great team. And it's no wonder, since they are PhD students out of University of Zurich. So I'm not surprised at all. It's the same university where Albert Einstein has graduated. So
I hope you were able to catch where he mentioned the 3 pillars of the relationship between Internet Computer and Hedera. It's going to include sustainability, obviously, corporate finance and DeFi, and the last pillar to that, artificial intelligence. So I did see a post on X somewhere. I should have saved it. But somebody mentioned that Hedera's relationship, the Hashgraph group getting closer with KPMG in India, was merely about artificial intelligence. And after looking at all the information, on top of the fact that going forward into when we enter 2025, Hedera made it known going forward that artificial intelligence would be the name of the game for them. It's an attempt to improve all of the other offerings that they have. The first way that they looked to approach that was the verification of the data. So we're talking about the security aspect of it, which calls into mind The whole purpose of the DREC Alliance is to secure your data. So, between Hedera's ambitions for artificial intelligence and India's ambitions for artificial intelligence and KPMG's experience with investing and working with blockchain startups, I don't see how this could get any better for Hedera. I truly don't. So I think this is all great news, guys. With that, as you navigate this crypto space, education is going to be paramount to what you do. That is why I created this Blockmaster. It's a 28-page PDF that covers everything: blockchain, DeFi, tokenization, smart contracts, and even crypto wallets. I also made it very easy to understand. So that way a high school student, even a middle schooler, could pick this thing up and feel comfortable explaining it to their classmates or their parents. That's how easy it is. Because when we reach the point in the industry where it can be explained to a fifth grader, then we're ready for mainstream adoption. So I created this to help all of us get closer to that goal. Another way to support the channel, guys, check out Uphold. They're the only one in the market right now offering yield on your RLUSD stablecoin, the flagship stablecoin for Ripple. They'll also probably integrate other stablecoins into these rewards. Outside of that, Uphold just has a boatload of crypto investing tools that resemble, because the more I spend time on Robinhood, the more I'm learning about traditional investment tools. They have just as many tools for crypto investing as Robinhood does for traditional investing. That is why between Uphold and Robinhood, I'm locked in when it comes to my investments. This is the most comfortable I felt in my entire life. And I've seen Uphold go through its regulatory fire. This was years ago. They've already done it. They're registered, they're back, their proof of their reserves are on their website. Robinhood went through their own thing, went through the fire, got criticized for getting into crypto, backed away, then got back in it, and now they're pushing crypto to the moon. So just from a brand perspective, none of that even mattered. But from a brand perspective, I trust what they do. So I trust the product that they offer. And if I trust the product, I'm going to share it with y'all. So with that, y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.